In this video, we are going to talk about getting our sprites to move, or specifically our main sprite. This game starts with our main sprite moving across the screen. I'll press the green flag to show you just quickly. She starts off by
I'm lost.
gliding across the screen. So I want to show you how we can get our main character, our little astronaut sprite, to glide across the screen and talk about how we create movement. So back to our sample here. We have our main character, her name is Kiran, and we want her to glide across the screen. So in order to understand how we get sprites to move, it's helpful to understand a little bit about how to know the location of your sprite. So in order to explain that, I'm going to first go to backdrops, and here is where you can choose different backdrops. And in a separate tutorial, I will talk about how to choose backdrops and switch between the backdrops. But for now, I'm going down to an XY grid backdrop. And this backdrop helps you to understand where your sprite is being placed. So if I click on my main sprite again down here, okay, it shows me that my main sprite is at the x coordinate of 146 and the y coordinate of negative 82. And it's a good opportunity to talk a little bit about some math here. So if I would move my main character astronaut sprite up into this top right corner section, you'll notice that neither number is negative. The x is at 130 and the y is at 105. If I would move her into the top left corner, I will have a negative x value of 114 and a positive y value of 100. Okay, so anything in this box would be negative x and positive y. If I move down to the bottom left corner, both the x and y values are going to be negative. Okay, depending on where I put her, the numbers will change. And if I move back to our bottom right box, the x value is going to be positive and the y value is going to be negative. So that's useful to know when you're deciding where you want your sprite to be, where you want your sprite to move, okay? So in our Planet Haiku game, our sprite is going to start on the top left or to go down to the bottom right. And if you recall, sorry about that, the top left box is both negative x value, a positive y value, and then we're going to go down to the bottom right box, which is positive x value and a negative y value. So you can place your sprite wherever you'd like them to start. Another thing you can do is if you go to looks, okay, you'll have the option to, sorry, perhaps it's in, here we go. In your motion, you can set your X and Y position. So we could go to events and let's say when our sprite is clicked, that means when we click on her, okay, if we go back to motion, we can set X. Right now, it's going to use the number that she currently is at, which is the X value is 151, and it's going to use the Y value of negative 180. So anytime I click on her, it's going to put her back right here. Now, let's say at the beginning of the game, I want her to start in the top right corner. So I can place her in the top left box, and now her X coordinate is negative 142 and her Y coordinate is at 106. And this time I'm going to go to my events block and I'm going to say when the green flag is clicked, when we start the game, I want her to slide down to 151 and negative 180. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my motion and I'm going to look, I have a move, turn, and I'm going to choose the glide. This gives a nice smooth movement. And I want to go I want X to go to, right now it's giving you the coordinates where she currently is, right? And we said the X is negative, the Y is positive because we're in the top left corner. And I want her to move to the original location, which was X of 151 and a Y of negative 180. Okay, and it's helpful to know the negatives and positives. So as you're moving around the screen, you can kind of predict where they'll be based on which section they're going to be in. And let's test it out. If I click the green flag, there she slides down to 151 and negative 80. And if I click on her, she should stay there. So let's purposely move her just anywhere on the screen, okay? And now when I click on her, she should go back to 151 and negative 80 there, and she did. You'll notice that this feature, when I click on her, she kind of just pops there, right? It's just a quick pop, whereas opposed to when we click the green flag, you have a nice gliding motion, okay? And you also do have the option of how slow or fast you want the glide to be. So right now it says 1 second. Let's see what happens if we make it flat 5 seconds. I have a feeling that's going to be kind of like a slow motion type of movement. Okay, so I'm putting her back here in the top left corner. Click the green flag, and we get a very slow, I kind of like that. She looks like she's floating through space with zero gravity. So that's a very slow glide. So you could, again, control how fast or slow the glide is. And you can decide where you would like your planet, your sprite, your main character to